what do we want? Well...
One of the things I keep hearing from people is like, I don't know what the Deluge really does. I don't really know what it is. I've heard some stuff, but I don't really know how it works. Now, first of all, it runs on batteries. That's pretty cool. It's got a built-in speaker and audio inputs and outputs, MIDI, and gate and CV. So you can run other like modular type gear. But really, it's a synthesizer. It's a drum machine, a beatbox, and you can compose music on it. You can arrange music by recording multiple tracks of different sounds. It's quite powerful, especially for something so portable. It has a bunch of synth engines in it. You can also use it as a live looper. You can record samples right into it on the fly, manipulate them, modify them, add effects. So it's pretty powerful in that you can do a lot of different types of things with it. A lot of people use it as a beatbox, just using like some drums and built-in synths. But I want to let you hear a bunch of different sounds out of the Deluge because I use it mainly as a sample player. I basically create samples in Omnisphere or Abyss or any of those soft synths or on my Virus, and then I multi-sample them and I put them into the Deluge. Like everything goes in and out of Deluge on an SD card. I put them into the Deluge, and now it's my Virus sounds or it's my Omnisphere sounds or whatever, but now they're in a small, portable, playable format, and I can mix and match any sounds that I like. So I just want to spend a few minutes and let you understand what the layout is like, what it does, and the variety of sounds that you can get out of it. Start with the piano sound. You can see this grid. These are musical notes, and the things that are brighter are octaves. You can see some of these notes are grayed out and some of them are illuminated. The illuminated ones are the ones that work within whatever scale you have set. If I scroll down, so there's more lights down here, just a lower octave. And the higher we go, up here, like so. Now, in the display, it tells me I'm playing a C. Now, if I hit a button or two, now it's giving me the layout of minor notes. So you can see all of the notes that are on are notes that work within a C minor scale, and the brighter ones are the octaves. Now there are many more scales available. I don't really use the Deluge much as a synthesizer, and it's because the synthesizer engine, it's relatively complex and capable, but you don't have much real-time control. I like being able to grab a knob and tweak it and change the sound more on the fly, and there's not a lot of opportunity for that. On the Deluge, when you want to adjust sounds, you have to go into parameters. So you hit a button and hit a different parameter, and it tells you what the parameter is, but you know, it's not really as easy as grabbing a knob on a synth. Piano. Now, hit one button, and this becomes a grid. So I've just created a little thing there. Can hit one button and it's twice as long. Maybe take some of those notes out of them. Change a couple of things. So very quick to just get an idea down there. Now, any of these notes, I can select them. I can give them probability, which means do they play every time or every second time or 30% of the time, or are they divided between other notes that share that same position in the grid? This grid could be as long as you want it, as many bars as you want. It's really crazy. The other thing about it is that say, okay, well, maybe I want to put some drum parts in there. Oh, it's not going to sound good, but you'll get the idea. So you can see that in no time you can start to build a track. Now, so you can see that first one at the top is the drum thing that I've done. This is the piano thing that I've done. But if I hit, all I have to do is hit any button on this row, and now I've got another instance of something. So maybe I'm going to go. Oh, another sound here. This is going to be whatever this is. So I'm building up all these potential tracks. Let's pick something different there. Tuba. But as you can see, I've got a bunch of tracks here. Now, I can have as many tracks as I like. I could have dozens of them, and each of them could have a note or two, or they could be played live. So it's really powerful. Let's say here's one of the sounds, but now we've got that original sequence that we put together. So it's very quick and easy to get ideas down. Now, your little grids and sequences that you can do can be as long as you want. I mean, this could be 50, 100 bars long of a sequence. And I could have as many as sequences and events and instruments as I like. So you put an SD card in, and that determines really how many notes you can play at once or how many things you can have happening. Just to be clear, this is in no way going to be a comprehensive look at the Deluge. There are probably 100 features and functions that I'm not even going to mention in this video, including the arranger, the synth engine, a bunch of the effects, the community features, like the new open source stuff. This is just meant to be a simple introduction to the Deluge, to demystify it. There's a guy named Ron Caravagnaro on YouTube, and he has done dozens of excellent Deluge videos. If you're interested in a more comprehensive overview, I'd find his channel and watch a bunch of his videos. So let's just listen to a few different sounds. Here's another piano. Now, all of these sounds are sounds that I've loaded in. Most of them are multi-samples that I've recorded either out of another synthesizer or a soft synth. Now that is like a piano string or something, but you can hear there's reverb sampled into it. Now, the samples could be as long as you like. I've got samples on this thing that are 3 or 4 minutes long. They can also be as short as you like. They can be mono, they can be stereo. Fender Rhodes. Noisy atmospheric stuff. A reverse sound. So what can the Deluge sound like? This is a sound from Omnisphere. I just loaded it in as a multi-sample so I can play it all the way across the range of many octaves. Here's a string swell. More strings. Here's a great sound that's quite long. I did it in Omnisphere. So everything within that sound, the filter sweep, the stereo reverb, you can hear that it's quite wide. Just a single sample that I'm playing back. Another beautiful atmospheric thing that sounded like that before the Deluge had anything to do with it. I just sampled it in so that I could trigger it and use it. Some low rumbling. I created that in the soft synth Abyss and just brought it in there. Here's a sound using the internal arpeggiator. Something out of my Virus synth that I multi-sampled in there. Here's a Tibetan bowl. Choir with lots of breath. Dark choir. That's choir and strings. These are some cymbal samples that I had. Lots of different types of cymbals. Stereo. Here's a drone sound that has a life all to itself. Just have to hit one note. So I've got a lot of things in here that are they're really long samples and involve some of them. crusty, dirty thing. Soundscape stuff. So just about any kind of sound you want, really. Once again, all the reverb and everything is part of the sample. It's not coming from the Deluge. So basically, this thing can sound like anything you want. You want some water, and then the lower I go, the deeper it sounds. Got some different water samples. Underwater. Something from Omnisphere that I multi-sampled into the Deluge. Some tuning difficulties there, adding to the character. This sound from an OP1 has a second attack, which I just love. Just beautiful and ethereal. So, just about anything you can think of. Some percussion. So these are all stereo samples. Some of them have reverb, some of them don't. Here's another really cool thing. So I'm going to call up something new. This is what's called a kit. Now this one just has on the side here, these are audition pads. Okay, here's a kit. So I could place things So there we go. Okay, so that's the kit. But let's say you don't want to trigger the drums from here. The problem with all the pads on the Deluge is they are not dynamic. They do not understand velocity. It doesn't matter how hard you hit it, it triggers that sound at that same volume. It makes the Deluge suitable for certain types of music, like electronic music, where there's maybe not as much variation, not as much kind of expression and nuance. But here's something brand new. Bang, push a button. Now I've got 16 different volumes of that kick drum. Same as the snare, hi-hat. Really amazing. Now this is brand new. So this is a game changer because all of a sudden you're trying to program a drum part and you can do dynamics, like you can do different velocities of kick drum and snare drum, whatever. And something else that's really cool, you can decide how big this grid is. So check this. So for people that are into finger drumming and stuff, like, wow, you can play that right in and write your part with dynamics, and you could never do that before. It's a brand new thing. A kit doesn't have to be drum sounds. It could be anything. Some birds. There's a gong bath that I'm a part of, and I this is one of the things I do. I bring environmental sounds to that experience. Rain, wind, waves, seagulls, thunder. The inside of a cave. So what can the Deluge sound like? It's like whatever you feed into it, just about anything. I've got samples that are minutes long, all sorts of really cool things. Now, it's a little limited in terms of what you can do in real time to affect the sound. Let's take a look at that piano sound. This is a filter knob, so I can roll out the top end a little bit. Vibrato. There's some reverb. Reverb's still pretty limited on the Deluge. I'd love to see what people are going to come up with for it. But we've also got delay here. So that's just the new, these are a bunch of the new digital delay features that give you way more control than you used to have. Portamento, otherwise known as glide. You've got some bit crusher stuff. So you can get into some pretty radical territory pretty quickly. that's the basic overview. Is you can have as many tracks as you want. They can be as long as you want. They can have drum parts. They can have musical notes. They could just have one long sample, a drone, or anything. You also have the ability to really dramatically change the samples, speed them up, slow down, time stretch them, do all that kind of stuff. Let's take a look at some of the other kits I have here. Here's something kind of interesting. Just play a single note, and they trigger long samples. And then, of course, now I can alter the volume. So once you get into this, you can use it for all sorts of crazy stuff. It's really powerful. Here's some vocal samples.
Don't force it. Don't force it. Everything you do alters the balance. So what do we want? So what do we want? Well, you can always say we want something betwixt and between. We want a certain amount of control, yes. But we also want a certain amount of randomness.
Alan Watts.
Only silence remains. Because I have to listen to him. I have to listen to the silence.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.
We can modify samples. Here's some time stretching.
So what do we want? Well, you can always... So what do we want? What do we want? Well, you can always say we want something betwixt and between. We want a certain amount of control, yes. But we also want...
So you can see there's lots of places you can go, lots of control, just using a few little keystrokes. Here's something else I want to show you. So the main limitation with this setup is that all these pads, doesn't matter how hard you hit them, they just play at one velocity. There's no dynamics. There's no velocity sensitivity. But all you have to do is plug in a MIDI cable. All you have to do is plug in a MIDI keyboard. We'll tell it to learn or look for an input. Now, check this out. All of a sudden, it's a really responsive instrument. It becomes a really playable, something that nobody expects to hear from a Deluge, because so many people that use them for programmed little sequences that are sixteenths and kind of busy and buzzy, but really load the right samples into it and they can be anything. So very, very powerful. That's my Deluge overview. I hope that gives you some sense of why I love it and what makes it different from so many other things out there. Thanks.